Hi, I've actually got a question. So, if anybody's a cat trainers do exist, don't they? If cat training is a thing, and if you're a cat trainer, I have a problem with Stinky. He has decided suddenly at the age of 2.5 that he wants to go outside. And in England, I always had cats that went outside. Didn't really think about it very much. But then I came to America and we lived in a bit more of a city area and like indoor cats were a thing. So I was like, all right, well, I guess the cat would probably die if it went outside and got hit by a car. So we started to have indoor cats. And we've always had indoor cats. And now I live on a farm and actually it's even more likely that if a cat is an outdoor cat, it's going to die because we have coyotes and raccoons and we have all this stuff that kills cats. And so Stinky's never even shown any interest in going outside until about 2 weeks ago when he broke out and he got out. And now, ever since then, he sits by the back door and he screams for me to let him out. And of course, I'm like, Stinky, you can't go outside. This is not a thing. Like, Stinky going outside is not a thing. Apart from Stinky thinks that it is a thing and he won't shut up about it. So first off, like, why? Why is he doing that? And second off, like, I mean, am I being super cruel not letting him go outside? Even though he might die, should I just be like, well, if he dies, then that's me unhappy, but he'd at least be happier because he got to fulfill his dream of going and living outside? Or do I just keep him inside? And if I do, how do I get him to shut up? He sits by the back door and screams. Anyway, so that's my problem. This is a question from Emily. Emily says, I've had anorexia for almost 4 years now. I'm 18 years old and I'm currently trying to recover. My only problem is learning how to be open about my eating disorder along with my anxiety. If that's your only problem, Emily, you're doing really well. I've always wondered why anorexia makes us be so secretive and how we listen to it, even though our minds sometimes scream for us to get help. At least for me, I choose to ignore it for the fear of my arm finding out that I have had a relapse, or the fear of losing a form of coping with suppressing the emotions I don't want to face. I want to be completely open and honest, even if it's just to my new therapist, but my eating disorder keeps holding me back. I feel like I can't stay like this for long. When I'm saying my issues are just anxiety, because they aren't. Any advice would be amazing. Well, Emily, if I look at it from a biological perspective, there are certainly going to be environments in which being open and honest isn't in your favor. And I think that when our brains think, like food is scarce, when you go into that eating disorder space, then there's also this, your brain basically thinks you're in a hostile environment. And if you are in a hostile environment, then being open and honest makes you very vulnerable. And if you think about sort of in times where humans exist in very hostile environments, most of the time the way that humans have existed in hostile environments is being very secretive, because you can't be declaring everything and declaring all of your vulnerabilities in a hostile environment. Now, of course, not being in a hostile environment and being secretive doesn't really help us in recovery when we're not actually in a hostile environment, at least not most of the time, at least I hope not anyway. I hope you're not in a hostile environment, but your brain thinks that you are. So your brain is, and I find that my brain did the same thing, trying to protect you, trying to protect what it actually believes is enabling your survival, which is your eating disorder genetics and the behaviors that you do and those things. Your brain's just trying to protect all of those things. And again, if you're in a hostile environment, being absolutely open and honest about your deepest feelings probably isn't going to serve you very well. It's going to make you vulnerable. And so when your brain's in that kind of mode, like I'm in a hostile environment, it just kind of shuts down and wants to be secretive. And so part of the rewiring work and part of the recovery work is a lot of the time trying to force yourself out of that and being like, brain, I've got nothing to be secretive about. Like, take for example, I was so secretive, especially around my parents. Like, wouldn't tell them. I know it wasn't just secretive. I outright lied to them a lot of the time about how much I was eating, how much exercise I was doing. And if I think about it now from a rational, not eating disorder brain perspective, it's like, what the fuck did I think was the threat there? That my mother was out to make me, like, I don't know what I thought she would try and do to me. I don't know what everything other than what she was actually trying to do was trying to help me. But my brain didn't translate it as that. My brain absolutely translated her as a threat. And she's not trying to help me. She's just trying to I don't know, fill in the blank, because I didn't really have an answer as to what she was trying to do. Because of course, like, my mother would intentionally try and make my life miserable by trying to make me eat more food. That's actually really not a thing. That's not a way to torture somebody that I know of, is just offering them really nice food as a way, like, to explicitly piss someone off. Make them nice food and take it to them and offer it to them. No, if my mother really wanted to piss me off, there were plenty of things that she could have done. But my brain still interpreted her trying to make me eat really nice food as this huge threat, and she was just like an ultra bitch for doing that. Like, so my brain wasn't just secretive, my brain was outright kind of aggressive towards other people. Secretive as well, though. And coming out of that eating disorder sort of space, like, of course I can see now, like, oh, duh, mum was just trying to be helpful. Like, why were you so mean to her? But I couldn't see it then. My brain wasn't in that space then, and my brain absolutely interpreted her and many other people as a threat. And my brain absolutely interpreted being open and honest about things, specifically my eating disorder, but many other things as well. Like, I was closed up about anything. I basically didn't tell anyone anything that was going on in my head. I just felt like that would make me too vulnerable. Now I couldn't care less. Talking to flipping YouTube about everything that goes on in my head. I guess I don't feel too vulnerable. So your brain should come out of needing to, feeling like it needs to protect you. You also need to do the work of kind of pushing your brain out of that space and being like, come along, brain, let's be brave. Let's go and be open and honest about some stuff. Emily, let us know how you got on. I hope you're doing well.